Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dual Screens podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, he's over there. He's Andy Asimakis. How you doing, Andy?
You know, this episode, Steve,
Yes.
brings back an old question.
Oh, okay.
Do we have more cat games or dog games on the show?
That's true. Yeah.
We had Cat Cafe, followed by Grapple Dog. And now another cat game has clawed its way back into our podcast.
Indeed. We did it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard correctly. This is going to be about a really, really cuddly and beautiful and really wholesome cat. JK, LOL. Joining us this week is John Kalderon, the managing director over at Angry Demon Studio, developer of Gori, Cuddly Carnage, a third-person skate and slash game set in a neon glowing futuristic world where you play as a badass murder kitty on a death-dealing hoverboard. And let me tell you, I got my hands on this bad boy.
That's the best sales pitch for a game I've ever heard in my entire goddamn life.
PAX East. And I said, oh, so it's kind of like Tony Hawk skateboard, but blades coming out of it and then killing a lot of, and I mean a lot of unicorns. Like a copious amount of unicorns. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's awesome being here.
We're so excited, dude.
We're very
Since
excited
PAX
to have
East, we're like, we got to get these guys on the show.
Yep.
And I have to say that was the best pitch I've ever heard. You put me to shame there. I pitched the game like 100 times or something, but that was by far the best pitch I've ever heard.
I want to say, if out there, listener or viewer, if you heard that pitch and you weren't like immediately drawn to want to play this game, maybe games aren't for you.
Yeah,
I feel like if you hear that pitch and you're like, I'm curious. If you're not curious as a cat, then this game is not for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't like cats, but I'd say that
I'm not a cat guy, but I want to play this game.
I feel like
I was gonna say if you don't like cats, maybe the internet is not the place for you.
if you don't like cats, that's one thing. But if you really don't like unicorns, like this game is for you because
thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah, we get to just slaughter all kinds of unicorns. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, this is the Dual Screens podcast, the internet's #1 indie developer interview podcast, hosted by people you've never heard of about games you probably never heard of. The show posts each and every Friday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home Podbean, and of course as a video version of the podcast on youtube.com/dualscreens.tv. If you want to support us with hard-earned dollar bills, y'all get early access to shows and also, get into our VIP Discord, get bonus content and all sorts of stuff. You could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/NDS podcast. And we want to thank our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler and FNH Paul. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support. So thank you so much for helping us out with that. And now, with all of that rigmarole all out of the way, I have a leadoff question, Andy.
This is all you, buddy boy. You played this game. You love the shit out of it. So
yeah, John,
go for it.
Oh God, my cat just jumped on my desk.
Shoot.
She feels the excitement.
Yeah, it's a cat game.
Yeah,
it's excited.
How did you know that if you gave a cat a hoverboard capable of murdering people or things, I should say, how did you know that is exactly what the cat would do?
Well, I grew up with cats and I have this instinct for cats. So I just knew that if you give a cat a hoverboard, there will be some really brutal and grave consequences to that action.
I believe the two words you're looking for are Cuddly Carnage.
Indeed.
That is
the cuddliest carnage you've ever seen.
The two words I got for a cat's are murderous intent. I'm telling you, dude, some of them I eat all of them.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite cat, it was my cat. She had that, resting bitch face going on.
Yeah,
Speaking
absolutely.
of murderous cats, she would always be like looking at me like,
yeah,
the way certain cats look sometimes, and they look at you.
I'm lucky that I have a very sweet cat. She's very, very kind. She never tries to plot to kill me. However, I am confident that if she was 4 times her size, she would absolutely try to kill me.
Oh, absolutely. Like a Maine Coon. She would just crawl up on your face and smother you while you sleep.
Absolutely. What? What do you want? She's like rubbing up all on me. So yeah, why don't you? I mean, we gave kind of a brick through the wall pitch for the game, but why don't you tell everybody what the game really is?
Well, the thing is that the way you pitched it before is like I can't follow that. That's just impossible. It's like, oh shit, how am I gonna do this? Maybe I should just change career or something. I'm
There you go.
but all jokes aside, though, but you covered it pretty good. The game is what, as you call it, like a skate and slash. It's something that we coined for this particular game, where it looks like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skating game, but it plays like a Devil May Cry game. So it plays like a hack and slash game. So
Yeah.
so if you button mash, you won't fall off the board and die, and your PlayStation or whatever, your console will explode like it usually does with Tony Hawk's
Mhm.
Pro Skater. But you just button mashing kind of makes all of these attacks kind of.
Yeah.
So all in all, it's like a Devil May Cry but with a cat, and it's on a hoverboard. And also there's unicorn. It feels like one of them funny YouTube videos where it's like, and also there's unicorns and oh right, cats. It's just like it's all over the place. But trust me, it's all connected, man.
Yeah,
It's all
it's very
connected.
fast paced.
Yep.
As you imagine, you're on a board, so there's rails for you to grind, there's ramps for you to
Yep.
launch off of, and there's hordes of enemies for you to just slice through.
Mhm.
These like light blades come out of the
Yeah.
hoverboard.
Yeah.
This is taking place in a very, and I mean very dystopian, sort of planet future thing. There's an artificially intelligent robot that basically speaks for you, kind of. I think Gori was silent, just doing meows. I don't
Yep.
remember any dialogue from Gori, but Gori is an orange cat, an orange tabby, who just loves to skate, and they come across a planet that is just overrun with absolutely banana, crazy, demonic toys.
Yep.
And the first group that you come against are unicorns. And there's unicorns with these scythes coming out of their hooves. There's unicorns that could like shoot at you. There's unicorns that I think blow up. Basically like kamikaze unicorns. There's like all kinds of unicorns. And you're just kind of skating and flowing through, finding them, slicing them up, doing cool combos. And really just trying to keep your momentum going. So this is kind of like a 3D arena. There's less of a focus on like the skating as a sport, and it's more of like the skating as a mode of transportation, as like as a mode of movement.
It's more of like a utility.
Yeah.
And you covered it pretty well. So the main character of the game, together with like there are mainly three characters that are like main characters. Can you have more than one main character? I don't know. I'm a writer. I should know
starring roles.
Yeah. Starring roles.
Featured
So
characters.
we have Gori. And I can't reveal too much about Gori because that's something that you're supposed to figure out over the course of the gameplay, what really goes on there.
Sure.
But one of Gori's friends, or brothers in arms, or just kind of siblings by choice kind of thing, actually it's sibling by circumstance, not by blood. It's Frank, the death-dealing hoverboard.
Right.
So Frank is pretty much a in a future where like toys are like getting too boring. It's like, the toys can't compete with apps anymore. Like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? We have to make extreme toys. And Frank was kind of born out of that thought. When we researched when we did research for Frank, we checked out like old toys that old banned toys, like the top 10 most dangerous toys in history. So it's like your own little glass blowing factory, your first glass blowing factory. It's like 1500 centigrade or something. You get to blow glass. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Lawn darts, that's my favorite. It's like,
lawn darts.
Oh, you see this fucking railroad spike? You know what you should do with that? You should throw it right up in the air. That would never cause any injuries. And
Throw it at your
slides
friends.
and just Yeah, and just a bunch of stuff. So all of the like top 10 most dangerous toys. It's like, how can we top that? How about a hoverboard? Yeah, and it like deploys knives, and it's like, okay, children, but remember, only cut the cardboard cutouts that comes with it,
I
nothing
mean, that would
else.
be a hell of a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. And it would probably mow down a lot of other things as well.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's Frank, and he never made it to market. He never got produced
Dang.
because of reasons,
Right.
kind of unsafe. And then there's Chip, the modular AI. So it's like a kind of like a dream wish of ours. It's like, imagine if you had like a friend, and the friend is in a cartridge, and you could just plug that friend into any item that you buy.
Mhm.
It's like you have a bike, you can plug your friend into that, and you have a computer and you plug your friend into that. So that's kind of Chip. Problem with Chip is that he was too intelligent. He was sentient, and you know what happens when sentience. You kind of question life and turn kind of sad. so
Sure.
so he never made it to market either because of that. So and these three friends kind of like they had their backstory, and that also gets to be revealed in the game. I don't want I kind of want to just talk about it because I'm really excited about it, but I know that if I do, I'll just spoil the entire game for everybody.
Yeah, we don't want
And
that.
yeah, exactly. But you missed on one thing, that the planet that you're talking about, that's actually Earth.
Yes, I see. I
It's
wasn't sure if
it's
that was like one of
yeah.
those things that we didn't want to tell people, but no, that's good. Yeah, it's
It,
it's
that's cool. So all humans are dead. That's everybody's like, oh, humans are dead. Brilliant. It's like when you're on an airplane and you're like, oh, you're next to like with humans versus animals or unicorns. You're like, hey, you get to sit next to a baby. It's like, oh no, it's a baby crocodile, and they go, ooh, that's nice. So yeah, but all humans are, they had their time. Now is the day of the toys. So the
yes.
toys are kind of it's like a kind of emergence day from Gears of War, where they came from, they evolved, they mutated into these horrible things, and turned against their masters. So it's kind of like a let's see here, mutation, probably like an emergence day meets Detroit becoming human, where like the slaves and the toys turn on their masters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ye-
I've seen Child's Play more than enough times to know when toys turn on their masters.
Yeah, you know what it's all about, man. You know what it's all about.
Yeah, it sounds like things kind of came undone and went off the rails there with humanity.
Mm.
I kind of want to take a step back. Speaking about rails, how many lines of coke did you do to get to to this plot and this gameplay and these characters? Like, talk about the creation process, the conceptual stage when you all sat down and created this nightmarish world.
Yeah, because
to
I mean,
play in.
your studio's pedigree is horror games,
Yep.
and this has like horror elements, like, oh my god, the abominations that these toys become are gross.
Yeah.
But it's also like really funny and like
Yeah.
fun and silly.
It's like a
Yeah.
schlock B horror movie, It's got
Yeah.
buckets of gore and there's like dark comedy, and it's just it has like a low budgety feel, but there's also a lot of polish
Yeah.
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 underneath the hood as well. So that's what it reminds me. It actually, I get like there's a game for Dreamcast called Ill Bleed, where you play
Yeah.
like in a horror like amusement park, and it's all parodies of old horror movies. And it has that same kind of like schlocky, self-referential vibe to it. It's
Yeah.
just so charming. But yeah, go into how this world came to be. I'm very curious
Well,
about that.
speaking, like let's go with them one at a time. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
line of cokes, dude, from the moon and back. No, I'm just kidding.
From here to Pluto.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that wouldn't cover it. Like, what's the circumference of Earth or something? Like, no. But seriously though, like the process of getting to where we are today was kind of like an we kind of felt our way forwards. Kind of, we had an iterative process, so we were kind of like, okay, so we want to do this thing, but what can we do with that thing, and so on. But before this, as you mentioned, we made horror games. So we made 2 horror games. One that is based on Swedish folklore that is called Unforgiving: A Northern Hymn. And then there's the second one where we kind of wanted to go bigger from like the beings in our forests to their mothers and fathers, the gods, kind of. And so that's Absol End of Gauns. When we finished Absol End of Gauns, we were kind of tired of walking the narrow line, so to speak. Like making a horror game overall is it means that you have, especially like built on an already existing lore.
Right.
First off, you have to be so careful, kind of to, you have to do something new and creative with it, but it has to honor the mythos, so to speak. So we walked that line for a couple of years. I remember one certain event where like we have William, he makes all the sound and the music for it, and it's like I'm playing it, so I'm play testing it, and I'm like, on the music we need to kind of push that down a little bit because I noticed it. It's like if you notice the music while you play, it's too much. You have to take that down because it's supposed to set the mood, and it's supposed to make you feel things, but you can't go too far because it'll take you out of the immersion. And that's kind of like one of the things that we kind of always struggle with. Like we have to keep immersion. If there's like a single gameplay bug or something, it takes the play out of the immersion. So as I mentioned before, like it is a very, very narrow line to walk making those horror games. And it kind of, after a few years of making them, we kind of felt a little bit shackled, so to speak. Like I'm not saying that you are shackled making horror games. Like there are a lot of really, really cool games, but we felt kind of shackled. We wanted to stretch our wings. Like we wanted to kind of push some ideas. Like we had this itch, this need that was kind of growing over the years to kind of push certain things. Like and this game kind of gave us the opportunity to kind of like spread our wings and just kind of make all of the ideas that we had and just kind of mash them into a game, kind of. So it all started in that desire to just make something that we usually don't do, something where we can just be like that where with an original story we don't have to respect anything. We can just do whatever we want as long as it's fun and as long as people like it. It's all good. So we started out with like a prototype. We wanted to try some new gameplay stuff because we did horror games, like first person horror game, very like there's a lot of events. It's a very cinematic and emotional experience where you get to follow a story. But with this one we kind of wanted to go like do a game mechanic first and kind of take it from there. And when we had the mechanic, we were like, on a hoverboard, like you kill stuff and you dismember stuff. And that's always been a big deal. Dismemberment.
That's a good starting point. Like
Yeah, it's like we have a game mechanic in dismemberment. Yeah, there's blood. Yeah, so much blood. Like buckets and buckets of blood, as you mentioned before, like the B horror game stuff. And it's like, I think Quentin Tarantino got asked, like, why do you need to have so much violence in your movies? And he's like, because it's fun.
Yeah.
What a dumb question, by the way.
Yeah. Well, somebody had to ask you. I'm not sure. I'm probably just paraphrasing or something.
Still,
I think I heard it somewhere. But yeah, so we kind of took it from there. We had the mechanic, we had the buckets of blood, and then was like, okay, so what about the main character? And it's like, I love cats. Okay, let's do cats. It's a cat. So that that's kind of the beauty of it. It's like, yeah, a cat on a hoverboard. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And it's like, okay, we need enemies. We had like the Unreal mannequin, so it was kind of glittery robots first. It's like, what do cats hate? And we're like, unicorns. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. Like cats hate unicorns. I'm fairly certain. It's like, nah, are you sure? It's like, have you ever seen a cat and a unicorn in the same room? It's like, no, I've never seen a cat and a unicorn in the same room. So they have to hate each other.
Making good points here.
Making really good points.
The logic is fitting in perfectly.
Yeah, as in this game. So we started out with that premise. We made some unicorns and a cat hoverboard, you know. And it's like, where does this take place? And it's like, okay, so we have a hoverboard. So let's say like the year 2040. That's a pretty good one.
Oh,
So
2040.
yeah,
It's not that far from
How
here.
far away? It's in our lifetime,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
it's in 18. So in 18 years, you know,
Oh.
keep an eye out for unicorns.
Yeah.
They will, you know.
I mean, they're
I'm
everywhere
gonna
right
be-
now.
I'm gonna be one of them people on YouTube that, you know, I'm just gonna say that in 18 years the unicorns are gonna take over, and I'm just gonna make 1,000 predictions, and when I'm right about one thing, I'm gonna be like, I was right.
There's a guy
was
for that.
right.
His name is Alex Jones. It's already done.
Yeah, we
We've
already have one
already
of
got
those.
that covered.
Yeah.
Cool. Not pointing any fingers.
I don't know what's more
at
impressive
anybody.
though. I don't know what's more impressive. In 18 years, there's a bunch of unicorns that completely took over the world, or toys for that matter. We don't want. I don't want to say they're only unicorns. That's the only enemies that I fought in my demo play was unicorns.
Yeah.
3 different variations of unicorn.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more impressive or a cat riding a hoverboard is more impressive on the hind legs doing the thing. And being able to understand and communicate in some way with an artificially intelligent robot AI thing. I don't know.
That sure is something, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things going on. The game is like one of them, you know, one of them videos where it gets more and more chaotic with every time you watch it.
Yeah.
It's like the more you talk about the game, it's like the more chaotic it becomes.
I mean, yeah, let's not forget that like Gori, this AI, and the hoverboard are on a spaceship.
Oh yeah.
And they happen to come upon Earth, which they notice as being, you know, whatever, is overrun with whatever. I don't remember if they choose to land there or if they get crash land. I don't remember.
They get shot down.
Yeah, there's some sort of emergency.
It's like in the intro sequence, and I think it's available on YouTube if anybody wants to check it out. It's like day 243 in orbit. So it's kind of like they you know, they left Earth, and the spaceship is actually also a toy. And it's like an extreme toy. That's where everything is made out of plastic inside the spaceship.
Not worried about burning upon re-entry.
Yeah, that can totally hold up in space. Yeah.
Yeah. The inside is plastic. You know, it's a toy.
Right. No, I get you.
It's high tech polymers and whatever.
High tech.
I'm not a rocket surgeon. I don't know anything.
No, I get it.
Rocket surgeon. I want that job.
So one of the things I want to like talk about a little bit is the controls, because we spoke a little bit before. Some things have changed since you know, you said the build that we played was a couple of years old. So a lot has changed, but I do want to say like one thing that you guys nail is it feels the way a skating game and a action slasher brawler whatever, it feels like those games should play. It feels almost like a Muso game, in where you're in like the Dynasty Warriors games where you're just kind of mowing down groups of people.
Crowd control,
like or like Dead Rising. You know, like that franchise. Like
I love Dead Rising.
That's like that. Cool. It feels like a weapon that you would find in Dead Rising, but like the whole game with that weapon. And, you know, it's like lollipop chainsaw, but it's a hoverboard with blades. But it feels right. What inspiration did you draw from when it came to the actual movement in the game and the combat in the game? Besides, you know, you said Devil May Cry, but like, where did you pull from to really nail it all down?
For the movement, we started out looking at some old PlayStation 2 games. We started out with SSX and the snowboarding game, and
nice.
we had to check that out. It's really dope. And Airblade, the old hoverboarding game, and which is where everything in the game is era appropriate, so to speak. You know, it's like the early 2000s with the goatees and the cargo shorts and
oh my god, we lived through that
beanies and everything. You know, it's era appropriate.
Yeah, the backwards hat that covers your eyebrows.
Oh yeah. I thought it was super cool when I played it.
Little soul patch
back when it was released.
Janko
like, yeah. Oh, that's important.
Yeah.
And everybody's name is like, I don't know, Jack or Jake or something.
Whoa, easy. All right.
But anyway, so we started out checking those out. But they were old. It's older games. So we started like branching out, looking for other inspirations as well. And we actually found a really good hoverboard in Fortnite. They actually have a
Wow.
Yeah.
hoverboard, like just a regular hoverboard that you can kind of, just go, kind of, go around with. That was really nice. That was a really good inspiration for that. So we kind of started there. So it's like Airblade, SSX, of course Tony Hawk,
Mhm.
and Fortnite. And from there we kind of had to, feel our way forward. So that has been one of the main challenges of Gori as a game, like kind of merging the hack and slash aspect together with a skateboard, and those, two very different types of gameplays, and kind of making it feel good. Which means a lot of trial and error. So we kind of started with inspiration from those 4 games, and then it was just trial and error all the way for like 100 years. It feels like
Yeah.
so
Well-
many versions.
So it was always a hoverboard then. That was never like
Oh yeah,
there was no other sort of mechanism or device from
No.
from day one. Conceptually,
Yep.
this was hoverboard is the main utility. I love
yeah,
that.
and just going around really, really fast. There's one more thing that was kind of like the seed. The seed of the idea was actually Devil May Cry 5. I think his name is V, the
Mhm.
really the poetic leather-clad guy. He has a power where he can kind of like surf around in the
Mm,
game. So it's like a sprint kind of thing where he
right.
just sticks his cane in the ground and kind of goes around like, leaning. And that was like the seed of the to the idea of like, what if this was the game? Like you go around like this and you smash stuff.
Wasn't Andy Final Fantasy 15? Wasn't that like Shiva's power? Like you would go like summon like the motorcycle, and you
Oh
just
no,
like
you're
whip
the
around.
Final
and-
Fantasy 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it was
Yeah.
one of them. Yeah, where you just go into like a motorcycle mode and just start whipping around, knocking dudes
Right.
all over
I mean,
the
you
place.
couldn't like control it manually, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
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 That would have been way more fun because that game could have used more fun.
Could have used fun. It could have used fun in general.
Shots fired.
Gori's better than Final Fantasy. Print it. That's the
But
headline.
yeah, I love how there's so much Devil May Cry in this game's DNA because it's not obvious when you're playing it that it's drawing a lot of inspiration and influence from DMC. But now that you mention it, I kind of see it now, and it's
Yeah.
the hype level just increases the more I think about
That's
it.
brilliant. So it's like that, and also like, so we just the feeling of Sunset Overdrive. Like, it's not an open world.
Yes.
You don't do
Yes.
parkour. You don't do all that, but it's just the feeling of the movement. Like, kind of, how can we try it? And that's like that one of the hardest parts of making a game like this. Is like, okay, so we can't just copy it from somebody else, but we know okay, this is the feeling. Like, how do we achieve this
Mhm.
feeling? It's like, it's like, imagine like if you tasted like sweet the first time and you don't know about sugar, and you're like, okay, so we have to kind of, this mouth feel that I'm feeling right now. We need something that makes that mouth feel. It's kind of hard
I have
sometimes.
based my whole life around mouthfeels. So
Yeah.
I know
No, I get it.
exactly what
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
talking
No,
about.
absolutely.
But yeah, it's like, how do
Brilliant.
you can't copy? It's like, what's an original idea, like potentially, like it's its own new thing in a way
Yeah.
where you can't say, let's look at 12 other thousand skating
Yeah.
games to see how we can correct the genre, make it better. Like, how do you make tighter controls? This is all, it's all you, like, as a pioneer in this, like, sort of, it's like,
Well,
a new genre.
pioneer is probably like, really, really stretching it overall.
I don't know, dude. Cat on a skateboard that kills unicorns. That sounds very It's high experimental to me. So
It is very
that is some new
experimental.
shit.
It is, but there are certain things that where we didn't need to reinvent the wheel. It's like the thing that we call a super hit. It's like when you hit something the first time, we do a little bit of a freeze frame. And there's particles, and we have particle text and stuff like that. All of those things are already in most hack and slash games.
Right, right.
So there are a lot of things that we can copy, but then it comes to like weird things where we kind of it's like when we started actually making content, and it was like we we had an issue where it's like you were so overpowered that the game is just it's just like we can't challenge the main character. It's like,
Mm.
why can't we challenge the main character? It's like I kid you not. It's like whatever we throw at this character doesn't matter. We're gonna beat it. It's like too easy. It's like games that are too easy might not. If there's no challenge, it's like probably not gonna be too much fun for a long period of time. So I kind of had to like take go back a step. I started playing Devil May Cry 5 again, just checking out. Bless you.
I
Just check it
do
out.
mute myself on my end, but I can never do both. So I apologize.
Yeah,
You would have
that's
wasted more
totally
time
cool.
not muting yourself.
I know, but whatever.
But anyway, yeah.
You just sing
So
bless you for no reason now on the show.
that's brilliant. Oh, okay. So okay, now I get it how it works. I'm just like, bless you. You can edit that out. Put
No,
some
no,
B
there's
roll
no
in there,
editing.
just patch it.
We don't edit.
That's got to stay in.
But anyway, so it's like we had this issue where the main character was too overpowered. It's like, but it has the attacks, and the enemies has the exact same kind of attacks as in Devil May Cry. Like, why isn't it working? Why is our main character so incredibly powerful, like in comparison to Dante, which is a pretty powerful character in the Devil May Cry games? It's like in comparison to Dante, why is our character so incredibly overpowered? And one of the things that I realized by playing is like, okay, so every time Dante makes an attack, he's stationary. He can't move, right? So uh, if you move around, if you just run around in Devil May Cry, nothing can hurt you. You are, nothing will ever touch you. They will
Right.
try to attack you, but they will land in the spot where you were. But when you attack, you kind of switch you switch mobility. That's like, okay, so now you're not mobile anymore, and you make this attack for this amount of time, and during this window, other enemies can attack you. So that's kind of the trade-off you have there. In our game, we didn't have the trade-off. It's like you can move, and you can slash, and you can do all of these things. So that was another problem. It's like, okay, so how do we tackle this? And then it was pretty much like, okay, so we have to have enemies that can that make that kind of goes after the player, and we kind of like as it moves. And also like, how do we get the player to like stay in a spot for a longer period of time, and then kind of evade out and go around a little bit more. So it's been a lot of, as I mentioned before, like a lot of trial and error. And sometimes it's like we just take a recipe from a game, and it's like, and the recipe doesn't work, and it's like, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
Well, you've sold us on this game from the first second we saw it. It was something that it just looked like, I gotta try this shit out. But how do you sell this to a publisher? Because you've signed on with Wired Productions, and
Yep.
Talk about that process, how that initial meeting went. Did they approach you? Did you approach them? Kind of walk us through that little part of this game's story.
Well, overall, we've been like an independent studio. We've been just self-publishing, doing the whole shebang for our previous games before. But one thing that we knew with this game is that, all right, we're gonna need a publisher, because it just grew completely out of control. Like for example, I think in Absolov, our previous game, I think the character, I think we had like 14 characters in the entire game, and that was like, and that's just for the complete game. And I think we're like reaching somewhere above 20 right now for Gori. It's like, oh, this level, it needs more pizzazz. Okay, let's throw another enemy in there. Okay, let's just make that one. But anyway, so it just kind of grew out of control, and we wanted to like focus 100% on the development. Before this, we had to do marketing, we do all our trailers, we do community management, and just running a studio. Just running a studio is absolutely dreadful sometimes. It's like, the IRS kind of, knock on your door and being like, hey, so that's the worst thing that ever happened. Is like, oh, so okay, so you started selling games with Good Old Games, like GOG.com. It's like, yeah, we did. That's in Poland, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, that means you need to fill out another form, and since you didn't fill out that form that you didn't know you had to fill out, here's a fine for you. It's like, oh, great, thanks.
Those bitches.
Yeah. Well, they're doing their job for the society and all, but
Let me keep my goddamn money.
Yeah, but also I like healthcare. I'm in Sweden, so I'm kind of
right. But let's say you
into
didn't sell
that.
those games. Are they going to help you out? Like, listen, I need a
Yeah.
bailout because my game didn't do so well. No, we just want your money
No.
when you do well. We don't want it when you fail,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. So anyway, so just running a studio with all of those things are, that's also a thing that needs to be dealt with. So we had all of these responsibilities. We had to kind of divide them on just a few people. And that just didn't work anymore. We knew that, okay, so we wanted to go big or go home kind of thing. So we were just 100%. We want to sign with a publisher for this game. And I started pitching on a lot of conventions, and it was, since Gori is what it is very experimental. It is very strange. It's not, survival crafting or the other things that are very popular. That it's like, you can't just take a game that's popular right now and be like, check this out, this sold 10 million copies. I'm gonna make another game that's like this, so it's probably gonna sell 10 million copies. And they're like, Roger that.
Great.
It's like, so it was
It's like the one page deck, like sales pitch. This sold this, mine will also do this. Money, please.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, this guy is like a genius.
Yeah, right. Right. It felt like that sometimes. It's like, okay, so I found similar games to Gori, like, hack and slash games that kind of had the same kind of level of finish to it. So like, not an asset flip, but maybe not Devil May Cry 5, because it's Capcom, and they have a brand. So it's not like, Capcom sells this many Devil May Cry 5 games. We're an indie game studio. We have the same traction. It's like, maybe not. But we checked out some really cool other hack and slash games that were kind of similar to ours, and they showed some pretty good sales statistics. So that felt good, and also for, it's like, are we making the right decision in making this game? Because we have to, when we release it, hopefully we sell more than 10. That would be a dream, right? Sell more than 10 games. So
at least
that
8
also,
at this point.
yeah, at least 8.
You're at 8 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like how many games to just make ends meet? Like 8. It's
Good.
But anyway, if we sell them for like $10,000 a piece, that's gonna be really good.
There you go.
But anyway, so we did all those things. We put together a pitch deck that was really flashy, because Gori is a really flashy game. And I showed it to it was on the in an event, a Nordic game in Malmö. I'm fairly certain. And also, shit, I forgot, we were in a pandemic.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that we were just in a pandemic, because we just we have the war now instead. And it's like, it's so funny. It's like, I haven't talked to you since the pandemic. We've had the war since then. It's like, yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's insane.
And now we have another disease spreading.
And then monkeypox, bro.
Yeah. So,
Maybe the
it's like,
2040 is an actual prediction. This is a
yeah.
documentary, not a video game.
I
It's
just hope we can get
events to
there, kind
come.
of. But anyway, so yeah, we were in a pandemic, so that was also a new thing. Like usually we go to these events and you book the meetings and you shake hands and you drink all the coffee. But now it was like everything's just shut down and everybody's home. That was in the beginning of the pandemic as well. It was like in June of 2020. So we kind of just hit the lockdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we started attending these digital events, and that's how we met Wired the first time. Was through one of the it's a Nordic game, but through the digital event. That was a you know in that whole chaos and that messy situation where it's like everybody's scared shitless and everybody's at home, and we were in a gaming incubator, and we were like, okay, so we just have to deal with this, like we'll see what happens. And it's like maybe we have to start working from home or whatever, but that never happened because everybody else started working from home, so we had like a whole building to ourselves. We were like four or five people on an entire floor. There was
That sounds
nobody
like
else
heaven
there.
to me.
It was actually really nice, and the
Yeah.
toilets were actually really clean during that era. Yeah, I was super. I'm really excited about that kind of stuff, like cleanliness. That's close to godliness. Am I right? But
Yeah.
anyway, so so we were in the game incubator. It was the pandemic just started, like the COVID. And that was before vaccines, before anything. Nobody knew what was going on, and how bad is it. Nobody actually knew how bad it was, and we started pitching because that's what you do. When everybody's frightened, you pitch your game. And we pitched in a digital event, and apparently that it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a really funny story or a funny thing about we talked to different publishers, and I was like, you know what, if we can sign with Wired, I don't care. I don't care if it's the I don't care what kind of don't care what as long as it meets our needs. Because we were like, we're gonna sign with the publisher that gives us the best deal. That's
Mhm.
gonna be it. And I was like, I don't care about the deal. I want to work with these people because I
Right.
that's also a thing with that we talked a little bit like before we started recording. It's like how sometimes I'm surprised, like how are you able to work with other people. I think it can be hard, like finding somebody that kind of is on where you're kind of on the same level. I'm not
On the
sure
same
if
page,
that's what
on
you
the
say in
same
English. On the
wavelength.
Oh yeah, the same wavelengths. That was, yeah. So
Yeah.
you just you have kind of the same goals. You have like you can kind of you have it's easier to understand each other if
Yeah.
you have the same goal and vision for the product, the game. So it's like if we can work with Wired, that's we I want to work with Wired because they seem really cool people, and they so we've signed and we've been working together for quite a while, and I can say for a fact that gut feeling of them being pretty freaking dope, that's an understatement.
It sounds like you're two for two. First of all, this game that you took a risk on to make, you're like, is it a
Yeah.
good idea? Fuck yeah, it's good. It's a great idea, not even good. And then you're
Yeah.
like your own, like you had a goal set for like we want to sign with this one particular publisher because
Yeah.
there's tons out there you could go with, and like this wouldn't surprise you as a Devolver digital kind of like
Mm.
Yeah.
title because it fits in their curation of sort of silly looking games. They're
The
like off the
absurd.
wall, exactly.
Yeah.
But like to know you wanted to go with them and then you got them, which is even better. So I would say play some lottery tickets in the near future because your gut seems to be spot on, moving in the right direction. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, definitely a lot of luck. It's like we've been thinking, like, what if the pandemic never happened? Like, would we have been on the same event even? You know,
Right.
And since with the digital events, you have this, these pitching sessions like 30 minutes, and you don't have to run around like a crazy lunatic, just trying to find the booth, and you were going to be late anyway, and and you didn't have time to go to the bathroom, so you just kind of you kind of sit there and be like, hey, you want to buy my game, and then you just piss yourself. You know what it's like, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
PAX
now,
is a lot of fun for us.
Yeah.
I
And
missed
now
it so much.
and it was great because now when we were in the digital events, you could just jump from meeting to meeting, and you could safely just piss yourself. Nobody
Or
even
just, you,
noticed.
or you could just sit on the toilet and take a meeting. That's also an option.
Time
Instead of
zones work in your favor as well.
constantly shitting your pants.
Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, time zones that was also really great. And yeah, overall, it was there was a lot of luck overall, and I'm really happy how it turned out. Overall.
Did they tell you like exactly what was, because you're doing a pitch, what
Yeah.
was the key point where they said, yeah, we want this game? Like what sold them? I mean, the game as a whole is amazing, but like what was, like, if they let the defining quality, they were like, you know what, we want this under our label?
Oh man, I was so busy and so nervous trying to be cool. So it's like, like if they probably like, we like the game, and it's like, and after that I stopped listening because I heard about like, it's like no one does
It's
movies.
just
So I said,
white
it's like,
noise.
I like the game. I think this could be something for us, and it's just like, oh my god, like, stop listening because you're so excited, Yeah, but anyway,
That's so
one of the
good.
things that like I think I think that they the ones that I was talking to said that like the first thing is that they liked us. They wanted to work with us as a team. And just as I said before, like I want to work with them because you can. And that's also like that's a really important thing, that when you start working together with somebody, like that's always a risk, because you don't know. You can have the most airtight contract or whatever. You
Mhm.
can have everything in black and white, and then you can have 200 pages of contract. But if you don't trust each other, and if you can't work together, there's 200 pages of contract ain't gonna save that.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think, in my humble opinion, right? So I think we just got along very very well from the start, and I think that was like, as I understand it, that was one of the main selling points. And then the game being really flashy and all,
Yeah,
it sells
game,
itself.
Yeah, the game is very marketable, even though like it is mature content. There's language, there's gore, there's all that fun stuff. But it's still very marketable. Just looking at the characters, looking at the world, looking at the simple gameplay. Like, you like hoverboards, look at cool and slice and do the things heads off. Yay.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, we could do that. We could deal with that. It's got its own personality, like, instantly. Your Gori was the Wired booth. Like, Wired had a lot of
real.
It had a lot of really cool games, but like Gori was like, here's the personality. Here's like, if I didn't know anything that Wired Productions published, I would know Gori coming away from PAX.
Oof, you're making me blush.
It reminded me.
They had some great games. The Last Worker was there. But that's a great game. But like this was like the showstopper.
It reminded me of Fall Guys. It reminded me of when Fall Guys was at Tiny. That was Tiny Builder. Yeah,
that's the Devolver.
Devolver.
Yeah.
When they had that, it was just like, oh, look at this. This is Flash. It's
a spectacle.
This is market. Like this is being marketed to my eyeballs, and it worked.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really happy to hear you say that. It makes me really makes my my insides feel all fuzzy and
good,
soft and gooey.
Well, enough of that shit.
Yeah, right.
It's time for rapid fire, John.
But let's see. There's actually one more thing that I want to say on that
Absolutely,
subject.
Sure,
And
please.
go
that
ahead.
is that like when we did our old horror games, when we did, for example, we did Absol of Endogons, and that has some pretty awesome moments. Like it has some really cool cinematics and some cool scenes and stuff like that. But one thing that we kind of noticed that, okay, so somebody checked out the trailer.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, what do you do next? What do you do after you see a trailer and you think that it looks pretty cool? You go to gameplay videos.
Mm.
And then you start clicking through that gameplay video to see what it's like. And the odds were that when you because there's this tension, you might be in a dark room, and you as a player are really scared. But when you look at a video, you just click in the middle, and it's like, oh, you're in a dark room. Okay, so there's darkness, and that's what you see. And that's something that we kind of wanted to move away from. It's like, okay, so no matter where you click in a YouTube video, when you watch Gori Cuddly Carnage, it's just supposed to be like awesome, and you're supposed to kind of you're supposed to be able to grasp like right away, like, what am I looking at? What is this game? What can I expect from it? So so it's like something cool has to happen every 5 seconds. It's like
Right.
you can't go 5 seconds with the game not showing what it is, kind of.
Right.
Well,
Gotcha.
you
So
you
It's
show
like a
it.
free marketing lesson right here, guys.
Yep.
For all
Oh
you
yeah,
developers out there.
absolutely. There are, like, of course there are always exceptions to anything,
Mhm.
and there are some games that are just like, well, if I look at this game, what you say seems completely wrong, and yeah, yep, and that's true, absolutely true. It's just that's kind of like the state of mind that we had when making this game.
Yep. Well, speaking of state of mind, it's now time to get into your deepest, darkest state of mind. We
Ooh.
are now going to hit you with rapid fire. We're going to get to know who you
Oh.
are. All right, John?
Oh, that's bad.
We're going to
That's
get
not
to
good.
know
Okay.
the John beneath the John, as it
Mm.
The
were.
community manager is gonna need to do some
Scrubbing.
damage control
It's
after
Yeah,
this.
possible.
working some overtime.
It's possible. All right, John, I'm going to hit you up with, we'll do an easy one first.
All right, all right.
Would you rather have the power of flight or invisibility?
Oh, ah, shit. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days, right? I'd say invisibility,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I'm scared that if I started flying, somebody's gonna shoot me down, like, as an unidentified flying object.
Probably.
What is the dumbest way you've ever hurt yourself?
Oh, oh man, I've hurt myself so much.
Mhm.
I've been to the ER at least 10 times. So that's why this gonna take a while. Oh yeah, I've been to the ER. I think I've been to the ER like 12 times.
It's
Snowball
like,
fight.
oh, it's John again. When you walk in,
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah. I'd say that's
is the like a punch
snowball
card?
fight.
The 11th one is
Is
free after 10 visits.
They're
to
all
the ER.
free.
Oh yeah.
They're all
Yeah,
free,
it's
Andy.
Sweden. Yeah, it's Sweden, so they're all. And I actually they're like $5 or $10. So
Got it. All right, so snowball fight.
uh,
Continue. I gotta
snowball
hear
fight.
this.
Yeah, so snowball fight was the dumbest way of getting injured. So it was after a party, me and some friends. One of them it's actually my current let's see here, girlfriend. We're living together, so yeah. But
Careful.
anyway, yeah. So back then we were just friends, and we were we came from a party, and it was snow outside, and we had a snow war. I think we were 4 people, and being the oafish brute that I am, I actually grappled one of my friends and started pushing him into the snow while throwing snowballs with my left arm, and doing that I dislocated my left shoulder.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just popped out, and I was like, my shoulder popped out because it happened before, and I was like,
Oh.
I know how to fix it. I was like, okay, so grab it, and just raise it, and so I could do like there's like a motion you do when you lift it up
Uh-huh.
and you go out like that, and I was like, so it was like lift it up in front of me, so it was like so they could lift it up, so I could just move, so it popped back in, and then we it was like and my friend we whom is my current girlfriend. We've been together for 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that love at first ER session. She actually offered to take me to the ER. She was like, "Do you want to go to the ER?" I was like, "I'm
Oh, so
fine. I
sweet.
think I'm fine." And I went to bed, and my arm started tingling. I started getting like numbness in my fingers. So I
Sure.
was like, "Okay, could I go back on that? Could I please have a trip to the ER?" And she took me to the ER, and it was really funny because when we were at the ER, our game got greenlit on Steam. Our first game, Unforgiving. That's when we started
Hell yeah.
the
Oh,
company
that's so
together.
neat.
What did you
wow.
dislocate to get Gori greenlit?
Actually, I haven't actually gone to the ER since then. So I haven't actually been to
okay.
the ER since 2016. So
Nice.
so
Oh, you're
that's
due.
a big
You're due.
plus. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably.
John, is there such thing as a happy demon?
Yeah, when we are properly fed, that's when we're happy demons. Usually we're just really, really hungry and stressed out, so that's why we're angry. But give us a pizza and some chips, and that's a happy demon.
John, would you rather eat a dick flavored cake or a cake flavored dick?
Oh,
He's so cake worthy. I didn't even ask you, Steven. I had to do it.
Yeah, that was.
those were some really hard words there. I was like, I would like to go with the doodle daddle. It's like
They were
okay,
SAT words, man. We got you the
yeah. Whew.
college
I think
level
I'd go,
words.
personally, I think I'd go with a dick flavored cake. Yeah,
Mhm.
that would
Yeah,
be
no,
great.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I actually had a small trip, before I started game development. I had like a little detour in my life where I kind of where I joined the army for a little bit. So eating stuff that tastes weird is kind of that's a
Same.
superpower nowadays.
That could have gone
I was gonna say,
Many
where's the story
directions.
going? There's dicks everywhere.
before
It's like,
before I
tackle the
did
whole of
before I made
Oh,
games.
yeah.
Cake and man,
Yeah.
it was a wild time.
We were 50 guys in a platoon, No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh, go on.
yeah, but eating gross things, that's part of the job, I guess.
What's the grossest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, the grossest thing. Oh, that's actually a tough question, because I'm one of them people that it's like it exists. It's like either I like it, or it's like it was okay. Okay. Actually, it was at a. Oh wait. Yeah, what is the grossest thing, man? These
Like,
questions are really hard.
Like
It's
what would be something that a normal person would find not okay that you have eaten? Like, there are some people that eat crickets. They just eat crickets. They're just like, here's a cricket, I'm gonna eat it. And I'm like, no, I don't want a cricket in my mouth. But some people are like, oh, but it explodes with flavor. No, that's not flavor that's exploding. That's bug juices.
good
Or
bug
bug
juice.
babies.
Bug babies, yeah. Well, I did try some. All right. Like the weirdest thing, because I really can't think of the like the most disgusting thing I've had. But the weirdest thing. Oh, I remember now. The grossest thing I've ever had was one of the Harry Potter beans.
Oh yeah, they'll suck.
And yeah. And I think I got rotten egg. And
Ugh.
that is
Ugh.
that I think it was the rotten egg flavor, and that was the most horrendous thing that I have ever tasted. It was so gross that I started doing the cat thing. It's like
Yeah.
Dry heave action going on.
A little
Yep.
dry.
yeah.
Mhm.
I never threw up, luckily, but I think that was the worst one of the thing.
Well, speaking of putting gross shit in your mouth, pineapple on
Oh.
pizza, yes or no?
Yeah. That's a tough thing. Like when we when we like eat pizza at work, it's like somebody always orders one, and there's always a slice over, and I'm always one that eats it. and I was like, it's okay. So I guess I'd say yes, because I'd never order it myself, but if you ordered it, I'd eat it happily. Or like
That's the camp I'm in, Andy. See?
Yeah,
That's the camp I'm in.
I see that.
I'm so in between on everything. I'm such a middle kind of person.
Here's one.
All right, shoot.
You have to punch a baby square in
All
the
right.
face
Yep.
to save 1,000 babies from being
Yeah.
punched in the face.
Oh.
Can you punch the baby in the face?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you wouldn't even you could have just stopped that when you punch a baby. you wouldn't even have needed to throw in to save the 1,000 babies. Like, would you punch a baby? It's like, yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I would do that. You know, to save 1,000 babies.
To save 1,000 babies from punching. I
Was
got
that
you.
one of
Oh,
your
yeah.
many ER visits? Did you bruise a knuckle while you punch a baby in the face one time? Was that what happened?
Yeah, it was actually they started it. You know, that wasn't my fault.
He was
The
always
baby
starting
was-
shit.
Yeah, the baby was being a dick. You know, It's
Yes.
like, it's not my fault. You know, I was just minding my own
Oh my
business,
God.
having a drink. You know, and the baby was starting.
God.
Was being a dick.
They're always
getting
crying and stuff. So annoying.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that show, The Life and Times of Tim? It was like an animated show. So there's like a baby
Actually.
crying in a
Yeah.
stroller, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Miss, your baby's being kind of a dick." And the idea of calling a baby a dick is like the best thing you can possibly do to a
Yeah.
baby.
It's so fun. It's so funny because it's yeah,
It's true.
because it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
John, if we could
Yeah.
somehow finagle Gori to be a guest character in the next Mortal Kombat game, what would his finishing move be?
Oh, dude. Oh, like the Puss in Boots eyes would be really cool. If it did like a cute face and the other character was just like, oh, and then their head exploded because he was so cute. That would be really
Hell yeah. Now
good.
that's Cuddly Carnage.
That is.
Indeed. He's like, he's pulling the Puss in Boots eyes. And
Mhm.
his head just explodes.
Aside from Gori, and then Andy, you'll take us home with our final question.
Got it.
Aside from Gori, what is the best animated cat of all time?
I'm trying to think of different. Well, I could tell you two things. Like, my favorite animated cat is the one from Open Season 2. Stanley. It's been ages.
That's a really
what's
good
his
impression.
Thank
That's
you.
really good.
Thank you. What's his name? Roger, I think. Is his name. That's my favorite. But I think the best animated one, I think it is Puss in Boots. That's a pretty impressive animation, if I don't remember completely wrongly.
I'm going with Tom.
I was gonna say Tom.
Tom is by
Jerry.
far my favorite cat character.
You know, we should do like a Tom and Jerry reboot, but with he's fighting a unicorn instead of a little mouse.
They reboot Tom and Jerry every 10 years.
I know they do.
Yeah.
I know.
Every time you say it, they reboot it.
Yeah.
So,
And apparently this Rescue Rangers movie is the tits. I gotta watch that.
Yeah,
at some
my
point.
kids are watching it
I've been
yesterday.
hearing good things about that movie. So
Oh, really? I actually
Yeah.
looked at the trailer and I was like, I was like super skeptical. Like,
Yeah, me
with
too. It was
the face you have every time.
They
there's a
they
new
go
movie on Disney Plus,
completely
you're like,
meta
this
with
is
it.
new.
Yeah.
This isn't Cinderella.
Oh, what a terrible movie that. Never mind. Let's not talk about. All right, Andy, take us home, friend.
Well,
Shoot.
we're at the end, John. It's been a very great conversation. This could go on forever. I feel like, but you're just so fucking chill. I love you. Great energy.
Likewise.
So speaking about cute things, you got to make a choice between two cute things right now.
That's true.
All right.
And the choice is Andy or Steven.
Oh.
I know.
Oh. Are you really doing this to
we-
me? Are you doing this to me?
We went there.
Ah, shit. You know, these kind of questions never end well.
They end well about 50% of the time.
Well, that is true. It's like this is like a Sophie's
For one
choice
of
right
us.
here. It's like-
Yeah, Sophie's choice. Good. Put it that way.
Yeah, right. All right. You know what? Wait, who asked the question? Andy, you asked the question.
Correct.
Right. So I'm the
Yeah,
asshole. Is
you
that what it
you
is?
put me in this position, motherfucker. So I'm choosing Steve.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh man, I thought that you'd use the cat as like he's got the cat.
That was
so
the easy out. That was the easy out.
that is an easy out. Like he's the cat guy. I'm a cat guy. I'm going with the cat guy.
No, you brought this on yourself.
You did
Andy.
this
You
to
brought
me.
this on yourself.
Put that one in the doc, Andy. Thank you. Speaking of easy choices,
Mark it.
you listeners, you made an easy choice and you listened to the Dual Screens podcast, and we want to thank you for doing so. If you want to follow us on social media, we're at dual_screens on Twitter. I'm at Batchild27. Andy is at PantsGuy. Our Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/DS podcasts. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/dualscreens.tv. You can find our podcast anywhere. We have multiple other podcasts as well. We have the Dual Screens Crossplay podcast, which is our gaming news previews and reviews podcast. We also have Indies Nuts, which is our indie game news previews and reviews podcast. It's strictly indies and it's brand new. We took the indies out of crossplay and we made it its own show because we just love them. We're just nuts about indies. You can check those out. Same YouTube channel, but you will have to search for the other podcasts on your podcast service. They're on everything. So, and if they're not on the thing you use, let us know, or go to our Podbeans and search it there, and you could copy the RSS feed into whatever player you are using. You could do that as well. John, where could everybody find you? Where could everybody find Angry Demon? Where could everybody find Gori?
Well, you can always head over to our website, angrydemonstudio.com, and that kind of serves as a portal and like a gateway to all of our different media, our Discords, Twitter. I think our Twitter is at Angry Demon Games or something.
Mhm.
It was like Angry Demon Studio was like one character too long, so it's like the Angry Demon game, I guess. But you can always head over to our website and kind of click where you want to go. But if you really want to talk to us, like if you want to reach out, I totally recommend our Discord. We're hanging out like with our community every day while we work. So from like 9 to 5, 9 to 6. What a way to make a living, eh? But from 9 to 6 Swedish time, we hang out in the Discord, and sometimes during weekends as well, because it's a really cool place to just hang out and ask questions about game development and just talk to people. It's a really cool community overall.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, folks, if you want to join our Discord community, you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just $1 gets you into our Discord, where we do the same thing. We talk about games and game development and just hang out and make fun of each other and have a great time. It's a wonderful,
punching
wonderful
babies.
Time. Yeah, we talk about punching babies, the whole 9 yards.
That's a new channel.
Yeah, that's the $100 tier.
Yeah, that's
the baby punching videos.
Yes, the baby punching videos. They are gatekept. Gatekeeping.
English is hard, man.
Before you go, John, this game, when can we get our hands on it? Is it like, what's the release window?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to say it's when the unicorns, man. It's when the unicorns let us. They're speaking of being dicks, those unicorns. They
God damn
they just won't
unicorns
let us release
aren't
it.
all they're cracked up
But
to be.
as soon as we have news, we will absolutely. It's probably gonna be a big thing. Probably gonna be a big deal.
There is the old alpha demo available if you want to go to the itch page.
It is not.
Oh, it's not.
No.
It was taken down.
It's horrendously outdated, so it's been taken down.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So there's no demo. There's nothing right now. But
that's right. It is gone.
Oh yeah. Sneaky.
Yeah, you are sneaky.
I was like, you know what? They're probably gonna ask about them. I'm just gonna take this down. No, but they're probably gonna ask the baby questions. I'll better take this down. But anyway, but if you if you happen to be interested in in a game where you're a cat, then on a death dealing hoverboard killing unicorns, you can always follow us. And as soon as we have any updates on anything, we are going to post updates.
Beautiful.
So, head over to there.
Love it.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. And as always, please be excellent to each other.